Okay, we're back on the record. All right, let's call the next case.
The next case is item number 14, case number CEDSP 2015-0018, Christine Pierre. Officer Ernst Baptiste.
Good evening. Ma'am, get off the phone, please.
Okay, I'm gonna call you back. Okay.
Please state your full name for the record.
Christine Pierre.
Ernst Baptiste, City of Miami Code Enforcement Officer. This is a case that was heard before it was tabled because it's a depreciation of surrounding property case.
Okay.
It's a basically shell of house, and time was given for her because she was in the process of getting permit with engineer.
Oh, I remember. I remember this case. Okay. All right. And where are we now? Ma'am?
Yes, I just got an email. Well, the last plan that they submitted to the city, it's been sitting there for a while. So actually, the engineer called me and had me to try to call the city so they can try to speed up the process. I finally spoke to Mr. Pazzillo a couple of days ago to find out exactly what was needed, and today he corresponded with the engineer via email. So he forwarded the email to the engineer, letting him know what they did. They did a portion of what needed to be done, but they need to raise the elevation 1 more foot. I was actually on the phone with the engineer to find out how long that would take for us to move forward. But Mr. Pazzillo did say that's the only thing that needs to be done, which was to raise the freeboard to, so when they're done with the level of the base, it'll be 8 foot. So that's like the only thing. And I have the email right here coming from Mr. Pazzillo from the city of Miami.
All right, show it to the officer who will show it to the city attorney.
No. I'm sorry, can I say something? If you want, you can scroll it up and see the.
No, everybody's
Okay.
afraid to get their fingers cut.
I'm sorry. I apologize. You would see when the engineer would ask him, like, how long it's going to take. Um,
Okay, so, all right, this was sent today?
yeah, actually, that was today, and I didn't even, I had no idea I had to go to court today. That was today. And I did speak to him sometime last week.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, you want to reset it for 30 days and see where we are?
Okay.
All right, 30 days. All right, ma'am, good luck to you.
Thank you so much. You have a
Alright.
great day.
You too.
The next case is item number 3, Alexander Sotelo. Officer Ernst Baptiste, case number CEWRA 2015-00080.
Ernst Baptiste, City of Miami Code Enforcement Officer. This is a case that was open for a alleyways and canal that needed the address to be placed in the rear of the property. And posted the property on the 21st of January. And yesterday I took a boat ride on the canal to see if the number was placed, and no number was noticed. And I have the picture of the rear of the property.
Is this an empty lot?
No, it's the rear of the property with vegetation. It's not empty.
Oh.
It's from the canal.
And you're expecting to be able to see the property
No,
number?
the number can be anywhere from the edge of the canal going
Okay.
on anything.
Okay.
We just need to, if there's an emergency, if the police has to go in the back, you can see the number.
All right. Okay. Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer, I find that the violation does exist. I find in favor of the city. I also find good notice. Given proper notice, the owner has failed to appear. I will adjudicate it guilty and impose a daily fine amount of $150 with an abatement date of March 1st, 2016.
The next case is item number 20. Officer Wayne Clark, case number CESOD 2015-0003, current property owner.
And what's the number?
20.
Wayne Clark, City of North Miami Code Compliance. This case has already been adjudicated. Facade to be planted in the front of the property. We have service on January 22nd, 2016 at 12:25 p.m. And I did speak to the owner, and he assured me that he would have it done on 2 weeks ago, approximately, and that hasn't been done. I haven't heard from him since. And I'd like to resubmit the photos for the, well, I have an updated photo for the record of February 1st, 2016, and the prior from October 16, 2015.
All right. Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer, I find that the violations still exist. And I find good notice, given proper notice, the owner has failed to appear. The daily fine amount of $150 is hereby ratified.
The next case is item number 21, Officer Virilyn Christie. Case number CEFAW 2015-00119, Danielle. For the record, this customer has item number 22, CEPOM 2015-00032.
And we're going to be doing the FAW first. Virilyn Christie, Code Compliance, City of North Miami. This case was previously heard. It's in regards to the fence not being repaired at the property. The notice for today's hearing, the order to comply was posted at the property. Notice for today's hearing was also posted. And as of today, the fence remains in the same condition.
All right. Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer, I find that the violation still exists. I also find good notice, given proper notice, the owner has failed to appear. The $150 daily fine amount is hereby ratified.
Vita Lynn Christie, Code Compliance, City of North Miami. Case was also previously heard. It's in regards to the pool at the property. As I stated before, we were able to observe the pool the first time. However, since the property has been a little bit more secure and we cannot go beyond that damaged fence to revisit the pool, and I have never been able to make contact with anyone at the property, but we know the owner does exist. The property was posted with the order to comply, and on the 19th and the 24th with the notice for today's hearing. Again, just to show you what the pool looks like, again, I don't have a current picture of the pool.
And no one has called you to
No.
tell you to come back to see whether or not they have?
No, they have not.
Okay. All right. Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer, I find that the violation still exists. There's no one here to inform this otherwise. And I find good notice, given proper notice, the owner has failed to appear. The $250 daily fine amount is hereby ratified.
Thank you.
The next case is item number 27, Officer Monica Frederick, case number CEBLR 2015-00067. Donna Sartorio. Also, this customer has item number 28, case number CEJNK 2015-00191.
City of North Miami Code Compliance Officer Monica Frederick. The first case is for a building address that is not posted on the front of the property. It was filed on December 2nd, 2015. It was scheduled for the hearing January 12th, 2016, and the affidavit of service was mailed out on January 26th, 2016 at 12:15. I have the pictures. They're doing remodeling to the property, however, you must have an address posted.
Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer, I find that violation does exist. I find in favor of the city and adjudicate this matter and enter a fine amount of $100 with an abatement date of March 1st, 2016.
Again, City of North Miami Code Compliance Officer Monica Frederick. This case is for the junk scattered all over the property in the midst of the repairs being done. It was filed December 2nd, 2015. It was mailed out on January 22nd, 2016, and the property was posted on the 26th of January as well at 1:35. Bottles, old newspapers, food articles.
Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find that the violation does exist. I also find good notice, given proper notice, the owner has failed to appear. I find in favor of the city, adjudicated guilty, and I will impose a daily fine amount of $150 with an abatement date of March 1st, 2016.
The next case is item number 41, Officer Ernst Baptiste, case number CENUS 2015-00076.
Ernst Baptiste, City of Miami, Code Enforcement Officer. This is a nuisance case. it's a new case, and I've been um, dealing with the owner of the property back and forth, and nothing has been done to shape up the property and make it look presentable. I posted the property on the 22nd of January, and I went by today, took picture depicting
What is this, a makeshift carport?
yes.
Ooh. What is going on back there?
It's wild and
There's someone living there, you say?
yes, there's a gym, and I mean his wife was living there too, but I think she's admitted to a nursing home or something. He was telling me.
Okay. All right. Based on the rebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer, I find that the violation does exist. I find good notice, given proper notice, the owner has failed to appear. I find in favor of the city and turn adjudication of guilt, and impose a daily fine amount of $300 with an abatement date of March 1st, 2016.
The next case is item number 45. Officer Videlin Christie, case number CEXP 2015-00296. And for the record, this customer has item number 46, CEFAW 2015-00131.
Okay, dealing with the fence first. Videlin Christie, Code Compliance, City of North Miami. This is a case that was previously heard in regards to the fence / exterior wall of the property. The property was posted with the order to comply on January 19th, and on the 24th with the notice to appear. I have received back both green cards signed. However, have never been able to make contact with anyone at the property. I do have additional pictures for the record. As of today, these are the photos.
Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find the violation still exists. I also find good notice, given proper notice, the owner has failed to appear. The daily fine amount of $200 is hereby ratified.
So tragic. Videlin Christie, Code Compliance, City of North Miami. This violation for the exterior roof was previously heard. The notice to appear was posted at the property on the same time, January 19th, and January 24th, and the order to comply was posted previously. Again, I did receive back both green cards for the property, but as of today, no changes. I do have additional pictures for the record.
Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find that the violation still exists. I also find good notice, and given proper notice, the owner has failed to appear. The daily fine amount of $200 is hereby ratified.
The next case is item number 59, Officer Monica Frederick, case number CEAPV 2015-000009.
City of North Miami Code Compliance Officer Monica Frederick. This is for abandoned property violations case where several violations fall under the property being abandoned. This case was filed back in September 2015. The property was posted on January 26th at noon, and I have pictures to submit. Property has numerous violations, an inoperable vehicle that was left behind from the fire. The house is physically burned down. I actually took the building official out there who stated that no one can live at the property due to the fact that the roof has been
Caved
torched,
in?
completely torched. It's not, it has been caved in. It's just if there's no
Oh, I see.
there's no structure there. It's
Yeah.
just a shell. Overgrown in the rear. The shed is torn apart and burned down and rusted.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a melting pot of violations.
Okay. So it needs to be torn down and rebuilt. What are we doing?
We're actually working with the city of building official to go out and deem it unsafe first before the city can go ahead and move forward with the process of actually taking the structure and bulldozing it.
Okay.
So it is in the list. 'Cause Commander Blanchard asked us for a list on Monday, really? On Monday. He's going through the whole city, picking up the houses and submitting them in so we can go through the process.
Okay. So were you asking for a nuisance? What is
Oh
it
no,
today?
this is
Just,
abandoned. He said this would be our first step. We deem it as an abandoned, then we do the DSP with the nuisance, and then once you declare it, then they can move forward.
all right. So, based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer, I find that the property is in fact abandoned based on the evidence presented. And I see here that it already has a $500 amount here. Is that what's being asked, or? Let me ask for the city attorney, because I've never had one where there's a amount listed before.
I believe there is some notation in our docket that says failure to comply will result in a $500 ticket, but that,
Oh, okay.
but that's
So it
just a
would be
ticket.
Ticket,
Yeah, you
Got it.
you have the ultimate authority as far as setting the daily fine amount.
all right, so I find in favor of the city, adjudicate this matter guilty and impose a daily fine amount of $250 with an abatement date of March 1st, 2016.
The next case is item number 92, Officer Wayne Clark, case number CEZPU 2015-000054. 54. Martin?
Wayne Clark, City of North Miami Code Compliance. Property was cited for parking on the front yard. No one has called to to talk to me about the situation. To date, the property was posted with good notice, January 22nd, 2016, 2 p.m. I have the photos to submit for the record, being taken on yesterday afternoon, and today when I went by, the vehicles were still parked on the yard as well.
I'm sorry, what did you say about notice?
January 22nd, 2016 at 2 p.m.
Okay. All right, based on the evidence, unrebutted evidence presented and the testimony of the code enforcement officer, I find in favor of the city. I also find good notice, given proper notice, the owner has failed to appear. I'm sorry. I will impose a daily fine amount of $250
Parking on.
with an abatement date of March 1st, 2016. And enter an adjudication, sorry.
The next case is item number 95. Officer Monica Frederick, case number CEBRD 2015-000005. For the record, this customer has item number 96, case number CENUS 2015-00081.
City of North Miami Code Compliance Officer Monica Frederick. This case is for the the boarding up and the uncovering of the boards on the property. This was filed on November 16th, 2015. The notice to appear was mailed out on January 22nd, 2016, and the affidavit of service was posted on the 26th of January. I have pictures to display that the house is still boarded up, and in the ordinance it states that it cannot be boarded up for more than 6 months.
All right. Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find that the violation does exist. I find good notice, given proper notice, the owners have failed to appear. I find in favor of the city and enter an adjudication of guilt and impose a daily fine amount of $150 with an abatement date of March 1st, 2016.
City of North Miami Code Compliance Officer Monica Frederick. This same property has also been brought forward as a nuisance case. You previously adjudicated on it. The property was posted on January 15th, 2016 at 2:10, and I have a picture.
Mm-hmm. All right. Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer, I find the violation still exists. It was already declared a nuisance, you said? Okay. All right. Are we here to ratify the fine amount? Okay. The $350 daily fine amount is hereby ratified. I see you keeping tracks on my fines.
No, I just said what they did.
Jennifer, can I have one, please? Thank you.
Then the next case is item number 102, Officer Ernst Baptiste, case number CEDSP 2015-00001.
What was the item number?
102.
We did 97 and 98 yet? Oh, okay. I missed that. Okay.
Ernst Baptiste, City of North Miami Code Enforcement Officer. This is a case that was heard before. It's a depreciation case. The property was posted on January 21st, 2016 at 12:50 p.m. And today I went by, took pictures in the same condition.
Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find the violations still exist. I also find good notice, given proper notice, the owner has failed to appear. The daily fine amount of $350 is hereby ratified.
The next case is item number 107, Officer Monica Frederick, case number CEBRD 20150004. For the record, this customer has item number 108, case number CEDSP 20150019.
City of North Miami Code Compliance Officer Monica Frederick. This case is also for the boarding up and covering of windows at the property. This property have been boarded up for more than 6 months. The violation was filed on November 13th, 2015. It was mailed a notice to appear on January 22nd, 2016, and the property was posted on January 26th, 2016.
Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find the violation does exist. I find good notice, given proper notice, the owners have failed to appear. I find in favor of the city and enter an adjudication and impose a daily fine amount of $200 with an abatement date on March 1st, 2016.
City of North Miami Code Compliance Officer Monica Frederick again. This case is a depreciation of surrounding properties, which was previously adjudicated before you. It still is in the conditions to depreciate the surrounding properties. I have a picture to submit. The property was posted for this hearing on January 19, 2016, and the notice to appear was mailed on the 22nd. The city is also, the building official is also looking to have this property added to the list of properties to be reviewed by the building official to be demolished.
Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find that the violation still exists. I also find good notice, given proper notice, the owners have failed to appear. The daily fine amount of $350 is hereby ratified.
The next case is item number 112, Officer Monica Frederick, case number CEDSP 20150013.
City of North Miami Code Compliance Officer Monica Frederick. This is for depreciation of surrounding properties. This property was first noticed on January 15, 2015. The notice to appear was mailed out on January 22nd, 2016, and the property was posted on January 26, 2016. I have a picture to submit for your array. This property is constantly being boarded up by the city due to the fact that it's a continuous break-in of vagrants that come in. They currently have the door unlocked as we speak, and I'm working with the city to have it boarded up again.
Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find that the violation does exist. I also find good notice, given proper notice, the owners have failed to appear. I find in favor of the city and enter a finding of guilt, and impose a daily fine amount of $200 with an abatement date of March 1st, 2016.
The next case is item number 131, Officer Wayne Clark, Case number CEDSP 2015-00030. For the record, this customer has item number 132, case number CENUS 2015-00087.
Wayne Clark, City of North Miami Code Compliance. One case for depreciation of surrounding properties. This is a abandoned vacant property for quite some time. No one is claiming ownership. There's no contact information for the property. The property has been ticketed several times recently. And it's all, it's falling apart. But I'd like to submit the photos for the record for this one and also the other one. We're going to use the same photos for the nuisance violation also, which is posted both at January 22nd, 2016, 12:15 p.m. Proper service. To date, it's the same way. I don't know. These pictures were taken on the 25th, but depicts the property as it is now, if not worse. And also, it's on a main road, 131st Street, where there's a school a block up the street. So, expand on the main road. Looks like it used to be a nice house at one time.
Yeah. Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find that the violation does exist. I also find good notice, given proper notice, the owner has failed to appear. I find in favor of the city and enter a finding of guilt and a daily fine amount of $200 with an abatement date of March 1st, 2016. Both cases, yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. She's still on record, right?
The last case is item number 115, Officer Vigilant Christie, case number CEFAW 2015-00140.
Need some help, Vivian? Vivian, the mic's off.
Vidal and Christie, Code Compliance, City of North Miami. This case was previously heard. It's in regards to the fence at the property that is not being maintained. The property was posted on January 19th with the order to comply, and the 24th with the notice to appear at this hearing. As of today, there has been no changes at the property, and I do have a picture to depict the conditions.
Based on the unrebutted testimony of the code enforcement officer and the evidence presented, I find that the violation still exists. I also find good notice, given proper notice, the owners have failed to appear. The daily fine amount of $150 is hereby ratified.
Thank you.
Yes.
Your Honor, we have several civil violation tickets that haven't been unpaid. We ask for you to lien them. CVT 9010, 91, 95, 9200, 95 58, 9277, 9304, 9303, 9326, 9169, 9168, 9192, 8719, 9170, 9301, 9302, 9146, 9172, 9199, and 8921, and the total for $4,931.50.
Okay. does this conclude our agenda for tonight?
That completes all the numbers on the agenda.
All right, we're adjourned.